Hello, my name is Gina Werfel. I'm an artist here in Chelsea, in New York City, and I'm here to talk to you about my solo exhibition opening tomorrow, September 7th, and it'll be on view until October 2nd. Prince Street Gallery has just opened this beautiful new space on West 27th Street. The show's title, again, is In Context, and as I walk through the show, I'll explain to you why I chose that title. I want to start by talking about these two paintings. I was a guest artist professor at Yale University's New College, Yale NUS in Singapore in 2015, and I became fascinated with Chinese New Year's decorations that were meant to be hung in people's homes to wish them good luck. And I began stenciling them, spray painting them, and realizing that they became a very important stopping point or contrast to my dripping and handmade brush marks. A painting like this also shows the influence of Baroque ceiling paintings in Italy. I was a guest artist at the American Academy in Rome in 2016 and thought a lot about how the Baroque ceiling painters created this frenetic sense around the edges and leaving empty space in the middle. This painting is called Drift, and it's quite recent. And again, I was trying to combine these stenciling motifs. Here's one of the Singaporean New Year's decorations with everyday objects that I thought could make interesting stencils. These are strawberry cartons, some motifs that I've picked up at various stores, and then combining it with an overall energy of marking with paint. These next two paintings form kind of what I would call the centerpieces of the show. I'm a daily swimmer in California, where I live, and I wanted to evoke the sense of my body moving through water. This painting is called Plunge on the left, and I was thinking about de Kooning's comment of the world is a fleeting glimpse, and how when I'm moving through water, things are blurred. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at, and how reflections kind of get distorted in the water. This painting is called Aqua, again about my body moving through water, but also trying to enlarge the scale of what I was doing in the first three paintings in the show to a scale more akin to my body, and again, moving through the space of the water. This combines very definitely collage elements. When I drew many years ago in the woods as a daily practice, as well as childhood motifs from my childhood home, little fragments of letters that I wrote or birthday cards. Again, that sense of the body floating, moving through space. This painting is called Reef. Again, it harks back to some of the paintings that I talked about earlier about trying to slow down my overall energy and find quieter moments. But I'm experimenting as well with almost this really intense background color, and it screams at me. But again, that sense of maybe swimming down at the bottom of the ocean floor or the pool and thinking about what I might find down there. These next two paintings are fairly recent. This, as opposed to Reef, is very much about how much stuff I can pack into a square format, and I'm trying to put very dissimilar things together into an overall context. Everything from strawberry cartons to shelf paper to a store I liked in Italy, fragments of collage and brush mark. This little painting is called Drift, and for me it sums up a good part of my experience last spring when the pandemic was raging. I couldn't swim in the outdoor pool at my gym, but I have a very small pool in our backyard in California, And I found that the world of this backyard became my world. It included water and reflections, giant redwoods, as well as my combining that with collage pieces of old drawings, and then putting it into an overall context or visual field. On this wall, I wanted to show you a couple of very small paintings. I do these kind of as a daily practice, where I experiment with different color palettes, mark making, collaging, and seeing them almost as a kind of diaristic accounting visually of my life. These two paintings are very important to me. A big part of my practice recently has been working on these large sheets of paper on the floor, several all over my studio floor, and I experiment with how I'm moving through space, how my body interacts with the painting. This one is called Sweep, and again, I'm thinking about those Baroque ceiling paintings, particularly the wonderful ceiling painting in San Ignatius in Rome, and how Pozzo, the artist, creates this very intense figural composition and then leaving the center of the ceiling open and bathed in an ethereal kind of light. This painting is called Flourish. Again, I'm combining my habitual brush marks with a very intense red, aggressive set of marks against a more ethereal, pinkish, floating background. The last painting in the show is called West, and I was experimenting with how could I develop my love of figure painting in an abstract context. And these are based on very small figures that I found in my childhood home, and putting them on my paint table and trying to create an overall context using collage, brush mark, poured paint, stencils to create an overall space. Lastly, I want to talk to you about my wonderful collaboration with Mehraban rugs in Los Angeles. And Gary Christensen, an old friend of mine, approached me a few years ago to collaborate on a rug project, taking off from a 22 by 30 inch painting on paper and expanding it in silk and wool, hand woven in Nepal, to a 9 by 12 inch rug. And Sarah Granette, somebody I recommended to Gary, was hired to work with me on the project. And she very painstakingly matched the Pantone colors in silk and wool to my very subtle color shifts in the painting. The rug itself is phenomenal. It's 9 by 12 feet, as I mentioned, and it really changes my whole sense of scale and materiality. If you'd like to see photos of it, Mehraban has it on its website. I have examples of it on my website, ginawerfel.com. If you'd like to learn more about my show here at Prince Street, go to princestreetgallery.com. You're also welcome to follow me on Instagram, Gina Werfel, and I'm also on Facebook. Thanks for listening and viewing my work. If you happen to be in New York this month, please stop by. Take care.